Oliver asked me if I remembered who my boyfriend was. I pointed to his younger brother behind him, who had a playful smile on his face. Oliver heaved a sigh of relief as if a heavy burden had been lifted. However, later on the wedding night of me and his younger brother, he went crazy and pounded on the door. "You can't get married. Emma, would you please come out?" Since the doctor said that I had lost part of my memory, Oliver came to see me every day. The day before I was discharged from the hospital, he suddenly asked me, "Emma, do you still remember who your boyfriend is?" I looked at the man sitting in the corner with a playful smile on his face. It was William, Oliver's younger brother. He had come to see me every day since I was hospitalized. He didn't talk much, and the key point was that he was exactly my type. My best friend said that before I lost my memory, William had been pursuing me. So I pointed at him and said, "He's my boyfriend." I wasn't sure if it was my illusion, but after I said that, Oliver actually heaved a sigh of relief as if a heavy burden had been lifted. He showed the first smile in days. "Well, William is your boyfriend." William sneered and stood up. With broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and a tall and slender figure, plus his outstanding looks, he was like walking hormones. I stared blankly as he came up to me. "I'll pick you up from the hospital tomorrow, girlfriend." The rising tone at the end of his sentence carried an air of endless affection. I blushed suddenly and my heart beat fast as I watched his back. "Emma?" When I turned around, I met Oliver's displeased face. I suppressed my smile and said, "Why haven't you left yet?" Oliver's eyes darkened slightly. "I'm getting engaged in a few days. I can't come to pick you up from the hospital tomorrow." I waved my hand. "Thanks, but it's okay as long as my boyfriend is here." William showed up in the ward on time the next day. He took my luggage and naturally came to hold my hand. After handling the discharge procedures, he took me home, to his home. He told me that my room was the second bedroom. Seeing him enter the master bedroom, I couldn't help asking, "Aren't you going to sleep in the same room with me?" William was obviously stunned for a moment, and then he said rather aggrievedly, "You don't allow me to sleep in the same room with you." The doctor said that I had forgotten a lot of things, and I couldn't remember why I didn't want to share a room with him. But it was embarrassing for me to straightforwardly say that I wanted to sleep in the same room with him. So I coughed lightly and said, "Then let's arrange it like this for now. We'll talk about this issue later, when I recover." He readily agreed, but his handsome smile made my hair stand on end. William went into his room and didn't come out again. When it was time for dinner, there was no sign of him. So I had to go to the kitchen to cook. Halfway through cooking, a strong aura enveloped me from behind. "What are you doing?" I subconsciously took a step back. The solid body of the man was pressed against my back, and the scorching heat kept coming through the thin clothes. It was so hot that the spatula in my hand dropped to the ground. I quickly squatted down to pick it up. Unexpectedly, my leg touched his, fitting perfectly together. Before I could react, a pair of strong arms directly lifted me up and put me on the other side. When I turned around, I only managed to see William's flustered back. Although I had forgotten a lot of things, my common sense was still there. Realizing what I had just done, my face and even my neck turned bright red. After cooking, I went to call him. When he came out, he didn't mention what had happened in the kitchen. Instead, he said, "My brother is getting engaged tomorrow. As my girlfriend, you have to come with me." I nodded. Then I thought for a moment, "Then isn't it like I'm meeting your family in a disguised way?" William resumed his casual look. "You've already met them. Just be yourself." With William's words, I felt relieved. At the engagement banquet, William took me to greet relatives and friends. I was a bit uneasy. "William, why do I feel that the way they look at me is a bit strange?" William curled his lips. "You're so beautiful that they're afraid you'll steal the limelight from the protagonist of today." I felt a bit embarrassed. I had dressed up specially today. It wasn't that I wanted to steal the limelight from his future sister-in-law, but I just didn't want to embarrass him. When I went to the bathroom, I heard someone talking outside in the cubicle. I didn't expect Oliver to really marry Isabella. I don't know how Emma will react when she recovers her memory. What if she makes a fuss? Oliver doesn't love her. If it weren't for her good family background, how could Oliver have let her cling to him for so many years? Just now I saw her with William. Does it mean that she couldn't win over the older brother, so she's going to go after the younger brother? TSK, Emma is still so wanton even after losing her memory. That's enough. Emma hasn't given you few benefits usually. It became quiet outside. I stayed in the cubicle for a long time. When I came out, I saw William waiting at the door. He looked at me with a half smile. Were you waiting for me to come in and find you? I blushed for no reason. You wish. He came over with a cheeky smile to hold my hand. I do, every day. I slapped his hand gently. William, I heard them say that before I lost my memory, I liked your brother. William chuckled. He doesn't have that charm. You've always been mine. He hooked my palm, sending a tingling sensation through me. I shook off his hand as if I had been electrocuted, but he held it again. I'll take you to eat something delicious. I nodded. William said that I used to avoid eating desserts to keep in shape. I thought it was rather silly. So when Oliver came to us with his fiancée, I had already eaten quite a few pastries. William wiped the corner of my mouth as if there was no one else around. I held his hand. William, your brother and sister-in-law are here. He just said, and held my hand back, pulling it in front of him and playing with it. His long, slender fingers with well-defined joints stroked my slender fingers one by one, showing no intention of talking. The atmosphere was a bit awkward for a moment. I stood up and raised my glass to them, wishing them a happy engagement. Isabella, Oliver's fiancée, looked back and forth between me and William several times and said with a light smile, "Your relationship seems really good. I also wish you could get engaged soon." My hand trembled, and I gave a dry laugh, planning to muddle through. However, William said seriously, "It'll be soon. We're looking at the dates." Oliver immediately looked at me. "Is that so, Emma?" I was so nervous that I said, "Yes, yes." Oliver wanted to ask more questions, but William didn't give him a chance to ask and sent him away. In the car, William helped me fasten my seat belt. "Shall I take you for a ride?" "Okay," but I soon regretted it. Once William left the urban area, he started to step on the accelerator. I felt like my life was in my hands. I held onto the seat belt tightly and didn't dare to make a sound. But William didn't seem to realize that this was just a casual ride. He stepped on the accelerator harder and harder. I was so tense that I almost cried. I should have known better than to get in his car. The car stopped by the seaside. I pushed the door open and got out, vomiting until my eyes were teary. When I turned around, I saw William taking out a case of wine from somewhere and sitting on the beach, waving at me. I couldn't believe it. "You took me for a wild ride to the seaside just to drink this wine?" He took a sip and said, "I just thought you might need some wine today." What a rascal. I was just discharged from the hospital, still taking medicine, and he wanted me to drink. The next second, I heard him chuckle again. "You can't drink, so I'll drink for you." The consequence of not stopping him was that I drove back to the urban area for 2 hours as if facing a formidable enemy. In the elevator, William stretched out his long arm and wrapped it around my waist. That charming face was so close to me, and the drunkenness added a bit more charm to it. I stared at him blankly. William tightened his arm and got even closer. "Emma, do I look good?" I nodded. "Do you like me?" I nodded again. "Then shall we sleep together tonight?" I nodded again. Only after nodding did I realize that I had fallen into his trap. I got angry out of embarrassment. "William, are you drunk or not?" He shamelessly leaned on my shoulder. I pushed him, but he didn't move at all. When the elevator door opened, he suddenly bent down, picked me up horizontally, and rushed straight to the master bedroom. I was startled. "William, that's your room." William changed direction in just a second. "Then let's go to your room." Without turning on the light, William put me on the bed and leaned over me. Just as his hand slipped under my clothes, the light in the room suddenly turned on. Oliver roared at the end of the bed, "What are you doing?" William was the first to react. One hand quickly pulled the quilt to cover me, while the other hand was still inside my clothes. The corner of William's lips curved deeply. "What do you think we're doing?" Oliver came over with a gloomy face to pull William. "Come out with me." Before letting go, William pinched me mischievously. "Wait for me," obediently. William didn't come back. When I was sleeping hazily, I received a call from William. He sounded weak and told me that he was in pain. Only then did I know that he had been admitted to the hospital. After asking around several times, I finally found out from my best friend what had happened. After William was dragged away by Oliver, they had an argument and then started fighting. William was no match for Oliver and was beaten and sent to the hospital. When I rushed to the hospital, William was lying on the bed moaning. His hands and feet were in plaster, his head was wrapped with a thick layer of gauze, and there was still a bruise on the corner of his mouth that hadn't disappeared. I was shocked. "Did your brother do all this?" William hesitated. "Emma, he doesn't want me to touch you." I was indignant. "Even if he's your brother, he's being too nosy." William's eyes were full of joy. "So, do you mean that when I get better, we can continue?" "What do you want to continue?" Oliver pushed the door open and came in. When he saw him, his face suddenly darkened. "What are you up to again?" William shrank back, looking just like a pitiful little thing being bullied. I stood in front of William and said unhappily, "Oliver, you beat him like this and now you're coming to intimidate him." "Believe it or not, I'll call the police." Oliver frowned. "I didn't hit him. After you took him away last night, he was admitted to the hospital. If it wasn't you, who else could it be?" Oliver's face became even darker. "Emma, he was about to do those things to you, and you're still protecting him. Do you want something to happen between you two?" I was confused. "He's my boyfriend. Isn't it normal for something to happen between us?" "He's not." "Hiss, Emma, I'm in pain." William suddenly spoke up. I asked nervously, "What's wrong? Where does it hurt?" William pointed to the corner of his mouth. "It's time to apply the medicine." I carefully applied the medicine for him according to his instructions. After applying the medicine, William still said it hurt. I leaned over and gently blew on the corner of his mouth. We were so close that I could see William's eyelashes trembling slightly and the joy in his eyes that he couldn't hide. "Does it still hurt?" I asked. William looked at Oliver and pulled the corner of his mouth. "It hurts, I'll blow it again." When Oliver left, he slammed the door of the hospital room so loudly that it echoed. During William's hospitalization, I came to the hospital to see him every day. One day, I was a bit late because of something. As soon as I arrived at the door of the ward, I heard someone talking inside. It was Oliver. He said, "Emma will recover her memory sooner or later, and she'll also find out that you're pretending to be sick to deceive her. She hates being deceived by others the most." William said casually, "When she recovers her memory, you'll be the first one she won't forgive." Oliver clenched his fist. "She won't fall in love with you either." William let out a light laugh and didn't say anything more. After Oliver left, I entered the ward. As soon as I came in, William put on a sickly look and even asked me to feed him when he ate. I found it funny, but I couldn't bear to refuse him. After being discharged from the hospital, William had his cast removed. He either lingered in the wheelchair or found excuses for me to support him at any time. Until that day, he got up in a daze to drink water and saw me standing beside the refrigerator. I looked at him with a half-smile. William slowly put the water back and shamelessly pulled me towards him. "I dreamed last night that an expert cured me." I let him hold me without showing any attitude. William sighed softly. "Forget it. I won't pretend anymore. I've made it so obvious. Don't you know what's on my mind?" I pretended not to know and asked, "What's on your mind?" Suddenly, William smiled, and his smile was a bit creepy. When he put me on the soft big bed, his eyes were so tender that they seemed to be filled with water. "Emma, is it okay?" I put my arms around his neck and asked instead, "If I say it's not okay, will you stop?" "No." William kept his word. During that time, even though I cried out in pain, he didn't stop. Only after it was over did he look at me like a clueless young man. Finally, he didn't say anything and carried the limp me to take a bath. In a daze, I felt that he kissed me again and again. Emma, I'm really happy. You belong only to me. You'll belong only to me for the rest of your life. After that night, William became especially clingy to me. When we were outside, he never let go of my hand. When we were at home, he wished he could attach me to him. I was a bit troubled. William, don't you think you're being too clingy? William played with my long hair, leaned close and took a sniff. Then do you hate me being clingy? No, I don't. William let out a light laugh and held my chin and kissed me. I was shocked and stretched out my hand to push against his chest. William, it's only been an hour since we finished last time. William nibbled on my earlobe and said vaguely, it's been an hour since we had an in-depth communication. Isn't it too frequent? Frequent? I thought anything less than 24 hours was too little. Stop talking. Recently, I've been feeling a bit weak because of his antics, and I've been sleeping for longer and longer periods. Finally, William realized that things couldn't go on like this. He started taking me to gatherings with his friends. At the entrance of the club, William received a phone call and had to go and handle something. He asked me to wait for him in the private room. Be good. I'll be back soon. When I walked to the door of the private room and was about to push the door open, I suddenly heard my name mentioned inside. Isn't Emma just a cast-off that Oliver got tired of? Only a fool like William doesn't mind her. Oliver still has good taste. He dumped her when she lost her memory. Otherwise, she would have cheated on you so many times after marriage. By the way, Emma has an amazing figure. If William hadn't made a move first, I would definitely have tried to get her for myself to have some fun. Enough, okay? She's a woman that Oliver has been with after all. Let's give him some face, right, Oliver? By the way, Oliver, if Emma recovers her memory and comes back to pester you, what would you say? Oliver's voice came after a long while. It depends on when she recovers her memory. I clenched my fists and was about to push the door open to demand an explanation. Unexpectedly, someone pushed the door open a step faster than me. I only had time to see a blur rush in, and then all kinds of cries for mercy came from inside. Not far away, waiters and security guards rushed over in a hurry. I stopped them outside the door. They're just brothers having a friendly sparring session. Don't disturb them. Fortunately, they didn't suspect me and left one after another. I waited at the door. It was a long time before the noise inside stopped. The door opened, and William, full of hostility, walked out, took my hand and led me out. When we walked out of the club, Oliver caught up. His face was bruised and he looked rather embarrassed. Emma, you just lost your memory. But that doesn't mean you can erase the fact that we were once together. William looked gloomy and was about to hit him again, but I pulled him behind me. Oliver, although I don't know why I was attracted to you before I lost my memory, you're not a good person either. You know better than anyone else whether anything really happened between us. Oliver froze for a moment at first and then quickly regained his composure. You'd better worry about yourself. William's family won't let you enter their family. William's wedding has been arranged, and it's going to be held next month. I froze all over and slowly turned to William. William's eyes dodged. Oliver laughed. It seems that William didn't tell you. Well, who would take a loose and immoral woman seriously? I don't know how I got home. William didn't come after me. When my best friend called, I had already been lying at home for 3 days. She rushed to my home and was shocked by my appearance. Honey, how did you make yourself look like this? She reached out to touch my forehead and was startled by the heat. Why are you burning up like this? I'll take you to the hospital. Ava, was I really that bad before? Why are they all treating me like this? Ava held my face in her hands. Baby, you're not bad at all. If they don't like you, it's because they're blind. Believe me, if someone truly loves you, they can't possibly not know that you've been pretending all along. I asked blankly, is that so? Yes. You used to take good care of yourself. You can't ruin your health for a scoundrel. Under Ava's insistence, I went to the hospital with her. After an examination, I was diagnosed with pneumonia and had to be hospitalized. Perhaps because I had been burning with fever for too long, I was sleeping all those days. My consciousness was in a daze, and I had many dreams. In my dreams, I was always ostracized because of my good looks. During my school days, there were always rumors about me. I never came forward to clarify them, so as the rumors spread, I became a bad woman who changed boyfriends every month. When I grew up, Oliver chased after me. Thinking that I could use him to fend off other suitors, I agreed to be with him. However, Oliver wasn't a good person either. He always wanted to get me into bed. I didn't want to, so I broke up with him. To my horror, he tampered with my car brakes, which led to my car accident and memory loss. After the car accident, he was quick to smear me, saying that I was pestering him relentlessly. He also quickly accepted the arranged engagement by his family. When I opened my eyes again, my mind was clear. Only Ava was by my bedside. "My dear, you're finally awake. You've been talking nonsense. I was worried that you had burned your brain and forgotten me too." I forced a smile. "I wouldn't forget you even if I forgot everyone else." Ava opened her mouth in surprise and looked at me. She asked uncertainly, "Have you remembered everything?" I nodded. Ava wiped away her tears and began to angrily talk about what had happened in the past few days. She said that both Oliver and William had come. Oliver was scolded away by her before he even entered the door. William sneaked in when she wasn't there. She beat him up and drove him away. I smiled with my eyes curved. "Fortunately, you were here. By the way, baby, I noticed that William seemed really sad when he looked at you. Was there some misunderstanding between you two?" I fell silent. Before I lost my memory, William had also chased after me. Later, when I was with Oliver, the way he looked at me wasn't innocent either. During the time when I lost my memory, his feelings for me didn't seem to be fake. But he was about to get married. What was the point of talking about this? "Ava, I'm going abroad." So sudden? Actually, it wasn't that sudden. It had already been arranged before I lost my memory, but it was just delayed. On the day I left, Ava came to see me off. She hugged me and cried, telling me to take good care of myself. I was helpless. "I'm just going to study. I'm not leaving forever." Before I turned off my phone, I received a message from Ava, "William is coming after you." I didn't reply. I deleted the message and turned off my phone. My life abroad was quite routine but fulfilling. Occasionally when I was too tired to work hard, I couldn't help thinking of the days when I was with William. Even though I was reluctant to admit it, the time when I was with him was the happiest time in my life so far. Counting carefully, his wedding date should have arrived. I picked up my phone and wanted to send a message to Ava. After deleting and typing several times, I finally chose to ignore it. It was as if Ava had a telepathic connection with me. On the day before William's wedding, she called me. "William is getting married tomorrow, Emma. Don't you really plan to fight for it?" I didn't know how to answer. The relationship between William and me had already become a laughingstock in our circle. If I were to win William back, in what capacity would I do it? Ava said, "I went to a wine party with my dad some time ago and saw William. He seemed to have completely changed. He was much more mature. If it weren't for his distinctive face, I almost wouldn't have recognized him. I always feel that if you two just miss each other like this, it will be your biggest regret." I mumbled a few words in response and changed the topic. I couldn't sleep at night. I was casually flipping through my phone and somehow opened the ticket booking app. However, thinking of William's evasive eyes that day, I felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on me. I quickly exited the app. I didn't sleep all night. I got up early to go for a morning run. When I opened the door, I saw a man sitting at the door. He was awakened by the sound of the door opening. In just an instant, he stood up and looked at me with gloomy eyes. I was shocked. "What are you doing here?" William's hair was messy, and his well-tailored suit was wrinkled. He stared at me silently for a long time, and the first thing he said was, "I haven't eaten for 2 days." In my astonished eyes, he walked into my apartment and went to the bathroom. He seemed as familiar with the place as if he had lived here all along. I stood at the door of the bathroom, looking at the door with doubt and uncertainty. I don't know how long it had passed when William's weak voice came from inside. Emma, I'm really hungry. After all, we were in a foreign country, and I couldn't just let him die. I went to the kitchen to cook noodles for him. When he came out, I had already finished cooking. He was wrapped in my bathrobe. His wet hair fell on his forehead, adding a bit of laziness and casualness to his look. His muscles exposed to the air were evenly distributed, which made one's imagination run wild. He didn't say anything. He picked up the bowl and started eating. He finished a big bowl of noodles in just a few bites. I silently went to clean up the bowl, but he grabbed my hand. Emma, I really miss you. His affectionate eyes were full of sadness. It seemed that if I looked at them for one more second, I would be lost in them. I looked away and coldly pulled my hand back. Leave when you're full. He took long strides around the coffee table and stood in front of me uneasily. Emma, I know I'm wrong. Will you please let me explain? I struggled a bit, and the strength with which he grasped my wrist increased. I suppressed my temper and said, then explain it. William lifted his handsome face and said resentfully, my family wanted me to go back for an arranged marriage, but I didn't agree. I didn't expect Oliver to be there that day. It was he who told my father where I was. Remember when I went to answer a phone call? That was my father giving me an ultimatum. He threatened me with you. I had originally chased after you to go out, but who knew that bastard Oliver knocked me out? Emma, I hadn't figured out how to tell you at that time, so I didn't explain immediately. Please don't be angry anymore, okay? I knew that most people in our circle couldn't escape the fate of arranged marriages, but I didn't expect that William would also become a pawn in an arranged marriage. For a moment, I really didn't know what to say. William moved closer. I could smell the familiar fragrance of his bath products on him. I escaped, Emma. Please don't drive me away, okay? I suddenly realized that today should have been his big wedding day, yet he showed up here. Just as I was about to ask, my cell phone rang. It was Oliver. I looked at William. His good-looking thin lips pursed slightly. I still answered the phone and turned on the speakerphone. Oliver was really impolite. As soon as he opened his mouth, he questioned, where have you hidden William? Emma, so what if you like him? He's a child of the William family. Unless he doesn't go back to this family, he'll never be able to marry you. The William family doesn't need a woman who is neither clean nor has a good background. I laughed. Oliver, you've told so many lies that you even believe them yourself. How about I tell the whole world what you did when you were chasing me? There was silence on the other end. Then I saw that he had hung up the phone. I put my phone aside and looked at William. William's eyes widened in shock. After a while, he lowered his head dejectedly. You've remembered everything. I didn't deny it. William put away his usual rascal-like demeanor and looked dispirited. Then I won't bother you anymore. He went to change back into his dirty clothes. When he was leaving, he kept looking back every few steps. William, I called him. William turned around, and the surprise in his eyes couldn't be concealed. I pointed to the garbage by the door and said, help me take the garbage downstairs. Immediately, those affectionate eyes dimmed. After he left, I received a call from Ava. Did William go to your place? Yes. Ava gasped. I knew I hadn't misjudged him. William ran away from his wedding, and his father was so angry that he wanted to hunt him down. I said, he's not here with me now. Ah? That's impossible. Who else could he go to except you? In order to beg me for your address, Ava's voice paused, and she quickly changed her words, I'll make it up to you when you return to China. I forced a smile. You sold me out just like that. Ava suddenly became serious. I just think William is really the right one for you. When you were with him, your whole state changed. Believe me, baby. He's definitely the one meant for you. I don't know if he's the one meant for me, but not long after that, I saw William again. He became my neighbor. At first, I adopted a policy of ignoring William. William didn't seem to notice my attitude. Every day when I went out, he would wait at the door, carrying Chinese breakfast that I liked in his hand. In the evening, he would wait in the stairwell when I came home. If I didn't take the breakfast he brought in the morning, when I saw him in the evening, besides breakfast, there would also be dinner in his hand. At first, I could still ignore him. But as time passed, all the overseas students in this apartment knew about the relationship between him and me. Whenever William met someone, he would say that he had a conflict with me and was begging for my forgiveness. Occasionally, some good friends would say a few nice words for William. In order to reduce the number of times my friends mentioned him, I had to accept the breakfast and dinner he prepared every day. But William pushed his luck and stuffed small notes into the bags. His drawings were really ugly, the little people he drew were hideous, and the flowers were also crooked. When I mentioned this to Ava, Ava burst out laughing. I didn't expect William to draw so poorly. I laughed too. Ava said, "You've tested him enough. Otherwise, if someone else snatches him away, it'll be too late for you to regret it." Okay, I got it. During these days, I had inquired about a lot of information. It was indeed as William said. He had been threatened. I couldn't say that he was completely blameless, but it couldn't be entirely his fault either. I thought about it all night and decided to forgive him the next day. However, that morning, I waited for a long time, but he didn't come. The overseas student from the opposite apartment told me that William had left overnight last night. My hands and feet felt cold. Did he say where he was going? He left with a woman. He said he was going back to prepare for a wedding. My life returned to peace again. It's just that in this peaceful life, it seemed that something was missing. Whenever I passed the stairwell, I would subconsciously look at the room where William used to live. But I could no longer see that handsome noble young master. I wanted to send a message to Ava, but I was afraid of hearing news about his wedding. In this way, half a month passed. The area near the apartment was very unsafe. There had been several malicious stalking incidents. The girls living nearby often went home in groups, not giving criminals a chance to strike. Until that day, I was delayed by something. By the time I arrived at the agreed place, everyone had already left. On the dark road, I walked quickly towards the apartment. After walking for a while, I heard footsteps behind me, following closely. At that moment, thousands of ways to die flashed through my mind. I forced myself to calm down and reached into my bag to touch the pepper spray. When someone patted me on the shoulder, I quickly reached out towards the person behind me. Unfortunately, I was still a step too late. That person was on guard, and I missed my chance. When I was being dragged into the alley, I thought that as long as I could survive today, I would be with William regardless of everything. Perhaps hearing my inner thoughts, someone came. The devil was dragged deep into the alley, and I was embraced in a warm and solid embrace. A familiar voice rang in my ear, "Honey, don't be afraid. It's okay, it's okay." Listening carefully, I found that the voice was uncontrollably trembling. I belatedly looked up and after confirming that it was William, I threw myself into his arms and burst into tears. William carried me back home. I held on to him tightly, afraid that he would run away as soon as I let go. William didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I won't leave. I won't leave even if you drive me away. But I need to take a shower. Do you want to come with me?" I subconsciously nodded. William carried me into the bathroom, but at the last moment, he ran out. After both of us had taken a shower, I lay on the bed, and William lay beside me. He said with lingering fear, "I was only away for half a month. Is this how you take care of yourself?" It was okay if he didn't mention it. But when I thought about the experience at night, I still felt a bit scared. I held back again and again, but finally couldn't help questioning, "Is this how you pursue someone? It's only been a few days, and you went back to prepare for a wedding. Was it fun to play tricks on me?" William looked confused. "What wedding?" I repeated what the overseas student had said. William's expression was indescribable. "That woman was my mother. She came to take me back to attend Oliver's wedding." What? What? William was both helpless and amused. "Isabella is pregnant, and their wedding has been moved up." "Why, didn't you receive the news?" I shook my head. Ava hadn't mentioned this to me. William, as if he had discovered something new, narrowed his eyes and looked at me. Are you jealous? I said, no. Really not? Then I can safely go back and accept the family's arranged marriage arrangement. I pinched him hard on the waist. Don't you dare. William gasped. His long arm wrapped around my waist, and his hot lips landed on me bit by bit. Emma, I missed you so much. His rough fingertips moved up along my waistline, causing shivers. I responded to him cautiously. His breathing trembled violently, and then came the passionate and possessive kisses. Perhaps it had been too long since we were together. William had no restraint and tossed and turned with me for the whole night. He discussed with me about me going back to China, but I refused. I like you, but I love myself more. I won't give up my goals and plans for anything. William seemed to not hear the second half of the sentence. He repeatedly confirmed the first half with me. You said you like me? Did I hear correctly that Emma said she liked me? After saying that, he kept pestering me to repeat this sentence. Since I refused, he kept teasing me everywhere. Finally, when I was so tired that I fell into a deep sleep, I heard William say beside my ear, Emma, I love you. On the day I sent William back to China, William pestered me for kisses at the airport. I covered my swollen lips to keep him away. William then leaned close to my ear and said, It's okay. You'll graduate in 1 year. When you return to China, we'll get married. When it came to getting married, a mischievous smile appeared in his eyes. It was just like when he told me that he had learned a new pose. I blushed and sent him away. But when he really left, I felt like a part of my heart was missing. A year later, I returned to China after finishing my studies. William's assistant picked me up at the airport. When I asked about William's situation, the assistant was very concise. President William has just taken over the William family group and has been extremely busy recently. I was surprised. He took over the William family group? The assistant said, You can ask President William for the specific details. I couldn't get any information from the assistant, but I really wanted to know what was going on. So I simply asked Ava. However, Ava didn't know what she was busy with and didn't reply to my messages all the time. The assistant sent me to William's residence, which was the same one as before. I put my luggage in the guest room. After washing up, I sent a message to William, telling him that I was adjusting to the time difference. I don't know how long I slept. I felt like I was wrapped in a big stove. When I opened my eyes, I met William's smiling eyes. Did you sleep well? I stretched in his arms. Why are you back? Since you've slept well, it's my turn. I was startled and held down his restless hand. William, it's still daytime. I don't care. Aren't you very busy? William's voice was hoarse. 2 hours won't make a difference, I said. 3 hours later, I lay limp in his arms. Why are you like this? We agreed on 2 hours, William chuckled. He sounded in a good mood. Next time, I'll let you exceed the time. When it was evening, William woke me up to have dinner. I ate 2 bowls of rice in one go. Then I had the strength to ask him about the company. He said that Oliver had lost 3 big projects in a row, and the shareholders were very disappointed. Coincidentally, during that period, William won several big orders and stood out from the others, and thus gradually reached this position. I stared at him fixedly. William, tell me the truth. Did you do something to Oliver? William neither admitted nor denied it. Will you be afraid of me? No. You should have done this long ago. You're smarter than him. William glanced at me. I've always been smarter than him. I always felt that his look contained a lot of things, but I didn't know exactly what they were. William offered to take me home. I was very nervous. What if they don't agree? William looked lazy and casual. Relax. Don't forget that you're the eldest daughter of the Emma family and the only heir to the Emma family group. I blushed involuntarily. I've lied to you for so long. Will you be unhappy? My parents were afraid that I would meet people with bad intentions, so they didn't let me tell others about my family background since I was a child. Even for safety reasons, they arranged a very ordinary identity for me. This was also the reason why even Oliver didn't know my real identity. William said half jokingly and half seriously. Fortunately, no one knew your real identity. Otherwise, how could it be my turn? You're not bad either. William came over in a rather naughty way. Which aspect are you referring to? At the old house of the William family, William held my hand and walked in. Coincidentally, we met Oliver and Isabella. Oliver frowned tightly. William, you really brought her back. Isabella looked at me arrogantly. Yes, William. You're now the successor of the group. Mom and Dad won't let a powerless and penniless woman enter the family. William's voice was indifferent and calm. William, can hold this position firmly, not relying on a woman. He seemed to be hinting at something. Sure enough, Oliver's face turned livid. The situation is still uncertain. Just wait and see. William ignored his words and led me inside with his arm around me. At the dinner table, William's parents were not very enthusiastic towards me. After dinner, William's father asked him to go to the study for a talk. After coming out of the study, his father's attitude took a 180-degree turn. He enthusiastically asked me how my study abroad had been. I answered one by one. After a few words, he brought up the matter of my marriage with William and asked if he could go to propose marriage tomorrow. Oliver couldn't believe it. Dad, didn't you say that it was impossible to let her enter our family? How dare you? Is it your place to speak here? Oliver was unwilling and still wanted to say something, but then William said, I've already met Uncle Lee. He's very relieved to entrust his daughter to me. Oliver, Uncle Lee? Daughter? Are you talking about the Emma family, the leading enterprise in our city? William, exactly. Oliver looked at me and then at William, too shocked to say a word. After we left that night, news came from the William family that Isabella had a miscarriage. William said that Oliver and Isabella had a quarrel after we left. In a fit of anger, Oliver said that if it weren't for Isabella's pregnancy, he wouldn't have married her at all but would have married me instead. Isabella was so angry that she told him the child wasn't his. Oliver hit her, and the child was gone. I sighed, but couldn't bring myself to sympathize. Anyway, that was Oliver's choice. However, I didn't expect that Oliver would come to me. Downstairs at the company, Oliver blocked my way. He was holding a big bunch of roses and happily handed them to me. Emma, happy birthday. I didn't take them. When I was with Oliver, during all kinds of festivals, big or small, he had never prepared gifts for me. Even when he was chasing me, except for the expenses when we went out, he wasn't willing to put any effort into me, but now, after learning about my identity, he did the opposite and gave me flowers. Seeing that I didn't take the flowers, Oliver casually threw them aside. It doesn't matter if you don't like roses. Shall I take you to choose a gift? Oliver, I'm your younger brother's wife. Oliver's face stiffened for a moment, but soon returned to normal. Do you mean that I'm already married? It doesn't matter. I've already drawn up the divorce agreement. Besides, aren't you and William not married yet? I showed the wedding ring on my ring finger. Unfortunately, we got the marriage certificate this morning. Oliver opened his mouth. How? How could it be? I smiled. My husband is coming to pick me up. Goodbye. Oliver blocked me again. Emma, haven't you remembered the past things already? Then you must remember that I was with you before. You were with me before. How can you be with my younger brother now? But I'm just with him. I said softly, Oliver, I like him. After saying that, I didn't look at his expression and walked towards William with big steps. William was afraid that Oliver would cause some trouble, so he chose the nearest date to hold the wedding. At the wedding, Oliver sat in the audience with a face as pale as death. Around him were voices whispering and pointing at him. Did you see that? That's Oliver. I heard that he looked down on the daughter of the Emma family and dumped her when she lost her memory. TSK. Who would have thought that he looks decent but does such things? I also heard that he wanted to get divorced. As a result, the Isabella family is not easy to deal with either. They're grasping his weakness and threatening him. His life will be tough in the future. Should I say that the newlyweds today are really good looking? I wonder if the bride has any sisters. Forget it. The bride is the only daughter of the Emma family. William has really made a big fortune this time. After the wedding, William left the guests behind and took me back to the bridal chamber. As soon as we entered the door, he pushed me against the door panel. I blushed and pushed him. What if they find out that we're gone? You should worry about me, wife. I haven't seen you for 3 days. His hand slipped under the skirt of my wedding dress. You're so charming today. From the first moment I saw you, I've wanted to do this. You rascal. Be good. Today I'll let you see what a real rascal is like. With his long slender fingers with well-defined joints giving a gentle pull, the wedding dress fell to the ground. His hot body covered mine and I couldn't help but let out a cry. At the same time, there was a knock on the door. Outside the door was Oliver's out-of-control voice, "You can't get married." Emma, come out. I gritted my teeth and whispered, "William, let's go to the room. This place is just fine." The knocking on the door became louder and louder as if it was going to break down the door. Oliver roared, "Obviously you were with me first. How can you marry him? Emma, would you please come out?" Inside the door, I bit my lip until it bled. It wasn't until Oliver was taken away that William carried my exhausted body into the room. "Wife, the night is long. Enjoy it." William's parents learned about Oliver's disturbance at the bridal chamber. In a fit of anger, William's father sent him to Africa. Instead of divorcing him, Isabella followed him and left together. 2 years later, I gave birth to a pair of twins, a boy and a girl, and then went back to take over the family business. William was worried about the children, so he brought them to the company and became a stay-at-home dad. During a meeting, William held a baby in each hand and made a video call to me. "Wife, the children miss you." I smiled. "I'll go home early tonight." However, when I got home, there was no one except William. Seeing the triumphant smile on his lips, I was so angry that I threw a pillow at him. "William, you lied to me again." William hugged me tightly and took a deep breath. "Wife, we haven't had a world of just the two of us for a long time. Since having the children, I had been focusing all my attention on them. Plus, I took over the company, and it seemed that I had really neglected William, so I couldn't bear to refuse him. The consequence of indulgence was that I got a positive pregnancy test the next month. I was on the verge of crying. "William, you're driving me crazy." "Honey, I'll go to get sterilized tomorrow." "There's no way I'd believe you."